Hello everyone, my name is Cody and this is my first official YouTube video. What I want to show you today on this 2000 Toyota 4Runner Sport 4-wheel drive 5-speed manual is going to be some of the things to look for when buying a used vehicle. And obviously the first thing you see when you're looking at a used car is going to be the exterior. Now, when you're looking at the exterior, there's many things to look at, things to look for. There could be indicators of accident or body repaint or work on the body. Now, looking down the side, you can look at the paint, see that it's all smooth and consistent, that there's no extra bumpiness on the paint on certain panels, that it's not dull, that it's not look like it's been repainted in any way, shape, or form. You can do that by touching each panel, making sure that it's smooth and consistent with the other panels, that there's no discoloration of the paint in any way. And you go around the whole body and make sure that everything's consistent. And as you can see, looking down the side here, everything is consistent on this paint. There's been no work. Only minor dings here and there, obvious. This car's got 210,000 miles. So you can expect a little wear and tear, obviously, for any used vehicle, depending on the mileage and the year. So we'll start out by looking here. You have the creases here for the doors, and we can test this to see if it's been in a rear end accident by kind of gauging with our fingers on the crease here, and then you'll go to the other side and feel that the crease is the same width or diameter here on both sides. Also look at the gas cap, make sure everything feels the same and even around the edges, as well as the doors. And with the doors, you want to make sure that all the panels are even, and you'll have to do this on both sides. Feel here, make sure that they're all the same width. And then we'll go ahead and take a look on the interior after we're done here with the outside. So another thing here to look for is the tires. Now, this can definitely be a gauge for the alignment issues, or even could be the shocks or other things as well. You want to make sure that all the tires are evenly worn around the edges and not more on the inside than the outside. Could definitely be an indicator if one side's worn more than the other, that the bushings or even the control arm is bad. And obviously you can do the finger test here with all seals around the car. Now that we take a look on the exterior, we can take a look on the interior. You'll want to make sure that all the doors work, open properly, close properly. You can also look here at the window operators here and make sure that they all do what they're supposed to do. So the front two are automatic, so they should be a one touch up, one touch down. And then the rear are not like that, so you want to make sure all windows are working, all the regulators are good, as well as the mirrors, the left and the right. You can control your mirrors here with these buttons. And then looking at the interior, we also want to make sure that the seats are working, since it just has a little wear for it, for its age. Make sure the seats here with this button, they all go back, they go forward, they go down. All the headrests are there. obviously the condition of the seats themselves, as well as the floor mats and the rest of the interior here. And take a look at the roof. Make sure there's no smoking, because that can be a discoloration on the roof here. And with the 4Runner, I'm not going to go too much in detail here with some of the specs of it, but you can see that seats go up here, and then these seats here in the back, you can pull these down. The headrests do come off. I just have one hand here, so I just want to show you a brief overview of this. But these seats do fold down completely, both seats, both sides. And it does have a few broken parts here, nothing too major, but you do have your air conditioning here for the back, so when you turn on the front, you want to make sure these back ones do work here, and you have your high and your low button there for the AC. Make sure all the door handles are intact. Make sure these things aren't too pulled out too far or ripped up. Another thing here, looking at the trunk, we want to make sure that the door hinges are holding up. And you kind of want to open the trunk and leave it open for a minute there while you look at the rest of the car. Make sure that this trunk doesn't slouch down like this, because if it does, that means these shocks could be bad. That could be a few $100 repair, both sides. So things to look for here buying a used car. You want to make sure all these things are good, that these work, that this opens up. This is a little storage compartment here. It doesn't have it here on this one, but this spot here and that spot there on that side are for the rear cargo cover. And as you can see, the 4Runner here does have two mats. You want to make sure that it's got the original 4Runner mat here that should be on top, and then you have the carpeting on the bottom here. And then it does have this on this side, it has one there on that side, and it does have one there and one over there on that side covered up right now. But that's for tie downs, for tying things down if you're going on trips, whatever. Close this up. Okay. And obviously you have your 5-speed manual here, and you have your 4-wheel drive here, your parking brake. And we'll go ahead here and start it up. Starts up just fine. It's one thing you want to look for is the sound it makes when it starts up. And you want to make sure here that obviously with the 5-speed it's not automatic, so some of the things you need to look for is how it shifts into the gear. That's going to be the first thing. So you push in the clutch obviously, and make sure that it does go into each gear smoothly. And then you got your reverse back here. You want to make sure that it does shift into gears properly. And then just when looking at the motor here, just make sure everything sounds good, sounds consistent, not rough. Look at the belts and the fan that they're turning, that they are operating. Some of these fans do fail, especially if they have been in a front-end accident. And this is the drive belt here. And just make sure it's not loose, it's not shaking around, it's not making any loud noises, because that could definitely mean it needs a new drive belt. Not too expensive, but then look around your fluids. You got your power steering here. Of course, this is your air intake box. You can always open it easily to check out the filter. And you can pull these out just by pulling it forward, pulling up. Pull out your air filter box, kind of give it a look in there, make sure it's not too dirty, that it has been changed. Then make sure, this is the engine block here, just go around the entire engine block, around the seals here, and make sure that there's no leaks of oil of any sort, because that can definitely be a problem. Having to deal with oil leaks up here can be quite expensive, especially here around your engine oil where you pour it on in. Your seals down here, seals down there, make sure there's no oil leaks. Then around the battery, make sure there's no corrosion. You can just simply check by looking here. Check all the fluids, make sure the coolant here is filled and up to date. You can check the radiator. The original radiators in this car are a tan colored plastic. If it's been replaced, it will be a different color, as this one has been replaced recently, and it does have a black cover, so you can tell that way. And just go ahead and make sure there's no plugs worn out or wires frayed. That could be an issue. We do have this spark plug wires here going around to either side of the motor. The spark plugs are over here on that side. It's here on the other side. Then again, you have your exhaust manifold. Make sure it's not all rusted out. Make sure nothing's rusted. Everything seems somewhat consistent, unless there is new parts here. You might want to ask if something, for example, is different, shinier, or looks newer than any other parts in the car, especially towards the front end. That could be a concern. You will want to ask the owners about that, and if there's any maintenance or anything like that, you will always want to see proof with the paperwork itself. Otherwise, do not take their word for it. That is definitely something you will need to do when looking over a used car here. And I could show you, but the hood's up here. But let's see here. And of course, you know, the finger touch here on the outside. Make sure both sides of the hood are consistent and even with one another. And then you will want to look on the underside here. This does have a rock guard for off-roading, so you don't mess up your underside car here. You'll look here, over here at the CD boots, make sure everything is good and that they're not torn up, because those boots get torn up quite easily, and those can be a pain to fix. And we'll check both sides there, even in the back. Alright everyone, this was just a brief video I wanted to show you. I will update this sooner or later, as soon as I can actually. And I'll be bringing you more. Thank you all. Take care.